My boss promised me a promotion. Now I found out he gave it to my coworker he's secretly sleeping with. I'm a 29-year-old woman, and for the past year I've been killing myself at my job. Long nights, skipped weekends, covering for people who couldn't handle their work. I thought it was finally paying off, because last month, my boss, Daniel, called me into his office and told me I was the front runner for the upcoming promotion. He said all the right things. You've earned it. You're the most reliable person on this team. Just keep doing what you're doing and it's yours. I walked out of that office floating. I called my mom. I even looked at apartments closer to work, because the raise would mean I could finally afford one. Then last week, during a Monday meeting, Daniel announced the promotion. He smiled, looked around the room, and said, "I'm proud to give this opportunity to someone who's shown real potential. Congratulations, Melissa." My heart stopped. Melissa. The girl who showed up late twice a week. The one who left at 4:59 every day without fail. The one who once asked me how to send a PDF as an attachment. Everyone clapped politely, but I couldn't move. I sat there frozen, my stomach turning, while Melissa beamed like she had earned it. Later that day, I overheard two coworkers whispering in the break room. One of them said, "Well, it helps when you're sleeping with the boss." They both laughed, and the sound went straight through me. That's when it all made sense. The random long coffee breaks she and Daniel took together. The way he defended her whenever someone pointed out her mistakes. The sudden expensive handbag she brought to work last month. The promotion was never about performance. It was about who Daniel was screwing behind closed doors. And I realized, with a sick feeling, that I had been played. I left that meeting in a daze, clutching my notebook like it could anchor me. My coworkers went back to their desks as if nothing had happened, but I could feel their eyes on me, little flashes of pity or amusement. Everyone knew I was the one who had been putting in the hours. Everyone knew Melissa didn't deserve it. And now everyone also knew why she got it. I spent the rest of the day pretending to work, my fingers hovering over the keyboard while my thoughts spiraled. I replayed every late night I stayed in the office finishing projects that weren't even mine. Every time Daniel looked me in the eyes and said, "Trust me, it'll be worth it." I felt sick, like I had been the punchline to a joke I didn't even know was being told. That night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, staring at the ceiling, thinking of the smug smile on Melissa's face, the little wink Daniel gave her as she accepted the promotion. I told myself maybe I was wrong, maybe it was just gossip, but deep down I already knew the truth. So I started paying attention. The next week, I noticed Melissa leaving Daniel's office every afternoon around 3 p.m., her lipstick always slightly smudged, her blouse just a little wrinkled. I caught the way she'd glance at him in meetings, not with respect but with ownership, like she had something on him. And then, one evening when I stayed late to finish a report, I heard voices down the hall. Daniel's door was cracked open. I froze when I heard Melissa's laugh, the same fake giggle she used at work when she didn't understand something. Except this time it was softer, breathier. And then Daniel's voice, "Close the door, Mel. Someone might see." I didn't stick around. My chest was tight, my throat burning. I grabbed my bag and rushed out, praying no one saw me. By the time I got home, anger had replaced the humiliation. It wasn't just that I'd been passed over, it was that Daniel had lied straight to my face, used me, and made me work twice as hard just so he could hand the reward to his mistress. I started digging. I went through old emails, comparing the projects Melissa had been assigned with mine. It was all there in black and white, I had done the bulk of the work. She got the credit. He signed off on it every time. And the worst part? HR had already congratulated her publicly, which meant if I complained, I'd look like the bitter, jealous coworker trying to tear another woman down. I felt trapped. But then, a coworker I trusted pulled me aside. He looked nervous, kept his voice low. "I shouldn't be telling you this," he said, "but I've seen them. Together. Outside of work." I stared at him. "Are you sure?" He nodded. "A hotel near the office." I was there for a client dinner and saw them walking out together. Don't let anyone tell you you're crazy. You were supposed to get that promotion. That was the confirmation I needed. It wasn't just in my head. I wasn't paranoid. They thought they were untouchable. And I decided right then, I was going to bring them both down. The rage that had been eating me alive slowly turned into something else: focus. If Daniel and Melissa thought I was just going to sit quietly, they didn't know me at all. I wasn't going to scream in HR's office and look like some bitter employee. No, I was going to build my case piece by piece until they couldn't deny the truth. The first step was evidence. Gossip wouldn't save me. I needed hard proof. So I became careful, almost calculating. Every time Melissa left Daniel's office looking flushed, I checked the schedule. She'd usually mark those hours as client calls or research. I started screenshotting her calendar. Then I dug through our shared drives, pulling reports where my work had mysteriously been reassigned under her name right before deadlines. And then came the emails. She wasn't smart about them. I found threads where she'd forwarded entire drafts I'd written to Daniel with one line: "Here's my version." He'd reply with, "Looks good, we'll present yours tomorrow." My stomach twisted every time I read those words, but I saved everything. The real breakthrough came one night when I stayed late again. The office was mostly empty, but Melissa's laptop was still on her desk. She had gone home hours earlier, but she hadn't logged out. I know it was risky, but I couldn't stop myself. I opened her inbox. Buried between work emails was a thread labeled with just a heart emoji. I clicked it, and there it was. Dozens of emails between her and Daniel. Some were explicit, way beyond inappropriate. Others were about logistics: which hotel to meet at, which evenings his wife would be away, even which projects he should toss her way so she could shine in front of the team. One line burned itself into my brain: "Don't worry about the promotion. It's yours. She'll kill herself working and never see it coming." I sat there staring at the screen, my hands shaking. They weren't just cheating. They were conspiring against me. Laughing at me. Using me. I forwarded everything to a secure folder linked to my personal email. Then I logged out, wiped my fingerprints off the desk, and left the building with my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst. That night, I cried. Not just from betrayal, but from the sheer weight of it all. My boss, the man who looked me in the eye and told me he believed in me, had been plotting behind my back with a woman who couldn't even send an email properly without asking for help. But beneath the tears, something stronger grew: resolve. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about every person in that office who worked hard while Daniel handed rewards to his mistress. It was about every woman who got branded emotional or difficult for calling out unfairness. I wasn't going to quit quietly. I started drafting a dossier, organized, meticulous. Screenshots of emails, timestamps of meetings, comparison charts of projects. Every piece tied together. It was damning. By the end of the week, I had over 50 pages of documentation. Enough to bury them both. But I didn't rush. I waited. I smiled in meetings, congratulated Melissa again, even laughed at Daniel's stupid jokes. Let them think I was defeated. Let them relax. Because when I finally dropped the truth, I wanted it to explode in their faces so completely that there would be no escape. And when the cracks started to show, when Daniel slipped up in front of HR, when Melissa boasted a little too loudly at happy hour, I knew the timing was coming. I just had to pull the trigger. I carried that folder around for 2 weeks like it was a live grenade. Every day I added more fuel: screenshots, copies of Melissa's timesheets that didn't match her client meetings, and even pictures of them slipping out of the building together when they thought no one was watching. I wasn't going to throw it all on HR's desk like an emotional meltdown. No. I wanted precision. I wanted Daniel and Melissa to choke on their own arrogance. The opportunity came during our quarterly review meeting. It was a big deal: senior management, HR reps, the whole team in one room. Daniel strutted in like he owned the place, Melissa glued to his side in a new designer dress that I'm sure was purchased with the raise I should have had. He opened the meeting bragging about our team's accomplishments, but every slide highlighted her projects. My projects. I sat there calm, quiet, my folder tucked under my chair. When the floor opened for feedback, I raised my hand. My voice didn't shake. I have something important to share regarding transparency and ethics. Every head turned. Daniel looked startled, Melissa's smile faltered. I slid the folder onto the table and pushed it toward the HR rep. Over the past year, I've documented repeated cases of misconduct in this department. Favoritism, falsified work credits, and an inappropriate relationship between a manager and a direct report. The room went dead silent. HR started flipping through the documents, emails with hearts in the subject line, explicit exchanges, calendar screenshots that proved Melissa's client calls lined up perfectly with Daniel's absences. Daniel's face drained of color. He tried to speak, but I cut him off. Please, let me finish. I pulled up my laptop and mirrored the screen to the projector. The first slide was an email where Melissa forwarded my work to Daniel as hers. The second was his reply, "Looks good, I'll tell the team you handled it." Murmurs spread around the room. Then I clicked to the third slide, a side-by-side of Melissa's timesheet showing conference call, while her email to Daniel read, "Room 204 at the Marriott, 3 p.m. Don't be late, winky face." Someone actually gasped. Melissa tried to lunge forward to unplug the laptop, but the HR rep stopped her. Daniel sputtered, "This is a gross invasion of privacy." I stared straight at him. "You invaded this workplace with your lies. You used your position to cover up an affair while punishing the people who were actually working. You promised me a promotion you never intended to give because you'd already decided who you'd hand it to, in bed." It was brutal. It was everything I had held in for months, spilling out in cold, measured words. HR didn't even wait for the meeting to end. They asked Daniel and Melissa to leave the room immediately. Watching them walk out, his face pale, her eyes wide with rage, was the single most satisfying moment of my career. The rest of the meeting was chaos. Senior management whispered furiously, HR promised a full investigation, and coworkers stared at me like I had just detonated a bomb in the middle of the table. Which, in a way, I had. That evening, I got a call from HR. They thanked me for coming forward and confirmed Daniel was being placed on immediate leave pending investigation. Melissa, too. They asked me to send all digital backups of the documents, which I did happily. For the first time in months, I walked into the office the next day with my head held high. No more smirks from Melissa. No more empty promises from Daniel. Just silence where their arrogance used to be. But the story wasn't over. Because the real fallout, their reputations, their jobs, their lives unraveling, was still to come. And I was ready to watch every second of it. The next week felt like living in a different universe. The office was quieter, like the air had shifted. Daniel's office door stayed shut, his nameplate was still there, but the blinds were drawn, and everyone whispered about the HR investigation. Melissa's desk was cleared out overnight. One day she was bragging about her achievements, the next day her chair was empty, like she'd never existed. The rumors spread faster than I could keep up with. Some people said Daniel had been caught trying to delete emails, others said Melissa had broken down crying in HR, confessing everything. I didn't care which version was true. I cared about the outcome. And the outcome came on a rainy Thursday morning. HR called a company-wide meeting. The director stepped up to the podium, cleared her throat, and said in a flat voice, effective immediately, "Daniel is no longer employed with this company. We take breaches of trust and inappropriate relationships seriously. Melissa has also been terminated. We will be reviewing our processes to ensure fairness moving forward." Just like that, they were gone. The office buzzed with shocked whispers, but every eye kept darting toward me. Some people looked impressed. Others looked scared, like I had just proven I could take down anyone. A few even smiled, quiet thank yous from coworkers who had also been dismissed and overshadowed by Daniel's favoritism. That night, my phone lit up with an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Melissa. Her voice cracked through the line. "You destroyed me. Do you know that? I lost everything because of you. I closed my eyes, gripping the phone. No, Melissa. You destroyed yourself the moment you thought sleeping with the boss was a shortcut. She sobbed, cursed me, and hung up. I didn't call back. The next day, it was Daniel. His number popped up with a voicemail. His tone wasn't angry, it was bitter, hollow. I hope you're happy. You took my career. You'll always be the girl who couldn't handle being passed over. Good luck living with that. I deleted it without listening again. HR offered me the promotion 3 weeks later. The same title, the same raise, everything Daniel had dangled in front of me like a carrot. But I turned it down. Not because I didn't deserve it, but because I didn't want to be defined by their mess. Instead, I handed in my resignation. I walked out with my head high, my folder of evidence now just a pile of old papers I no longer needed. I found a new job within a month. A fresh start, at a company that didn't know me as the one who blew up the boss. I kept my head down at first, but inside, I carried a lesson I'd never forget: trust is earned, not given. And silence is dangerous when you know the truth. Do I regret it? No. Watching them fall was justice, not just for me but for everyone Daniel had manipulated. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't leave scars. Every time a new manager praises me now, I wonder if it's real or if there's a hidden agenda. Every time a coworker gets a sudden promotion, I glance sideways, questioning. I don't know if that paranoia will ever go away. But what I do know is this: I refuse to let them bury me quietly. I refuse to let them rewrite the story. They thought I was nothing but background noise. Now, they're gone. And I'm still standing.
Follow me for more stories.